Modern cars are designed to control you. I'm going to be talking about why the government wants you to start driving electric vehicles even though they're hardly better for the environment. The electric grid is already very full and I don't know if it can handle more people. So why would they want this switch? It's because electric cars are modern surveillance and control machines. Before I continue that thought, I want to ask you, what would it be like if you couldn't drive anymore? Maybe there's a grocery store that you love that's on the other side of town. You won't be able to go there anymore. Or maybe your friends are meeting up on the other side of town and it's 5 miles away and you just can't go. You're starting to feel isolated and traveling is completely out of the equation. I looked online and it takes 40 days of nonstop walking to go from one side of the US to the other. And worst of all, if there's some sort of environmental catastrophe like a hurricane or a flood, you're stuck in that location. You can't drive away. Maybe your loved one needs you in a hurry. What are you gonna do, run to a different town to help them? It's essential in all parts of our life. And so I hope that helps you understand, driving is not just a luxury. Driving is a basic freedom that we all deserve. It's a God-given right. Transportation is a God-given right. And modern cars are being designed to take that away from us. It's a surveillance and control machine. So first off, let me talk about how it's a surveillance machine. Electric cars are basically mobile spy stations. They're filled with cameras and microphones. Good luck trying to have a private conversation in there because it's connected to the internet and they know everything that you're saying. And not only that, it's constantly connected to GPS that knows where you are, how fast you're going. It can even predict where you're planning to go. The most concerning part about these electric vehicles is they can basically be completely remote controlled. It sounds like a crazy Black Mirror episode. Your car is controlled by the government. They decide where you can drive, if you can drive at all, and maybe one day you go to the car and it won't even let you in. It's not here yet. I know it's not here yet, but the pieces exist and they're being put into place. So let me break that down for you and show you what those pieces are. So first, let's take a look mechanically, how cars used to work and how they work now. In the past, if you have a steering wheel and you would turn that steering wheel, it would turn a drive column that would turn the wheel. So when you turn the wheel, it physically turns the wheel. It's connected, right? Now, with modern technology, you turn the wheel and then it tells the computer they're turning left, and the computer tells the wheel turn left. It doesn't seem like a big difference, but it's an important distinction. You're not physically turning the wheel anymore. A computer's turning the wheel based off of what you tell it. And what's even crazier is it's not just the steering. It's also the shifting of the car, the throttle, or the gas pedal. And the craziest of all, it's the brakes. So your brakes aren't physically connected anymore. It's connected by a computer. It's like you're in a big remote controlled toy car. So now that you understand the mechanical side of it, let's take a look at the technical side of it, the technology behind it. And Tesla and other companies have technology that is crazy. I'm sure you've heard of autopilot before. Cars that are able to park on their own. They're able to change lanes. They're able to steer. They can navigate. They can even listen to traffic cues like traffic signs, traffic lights. It's crazy stuff. I like to think of it as not GPS that knows where you are, but instead it's GPS that can control where you go. That's the power that this technology has. So let's quickly review. Your car is constantly connected to the internet. It is run by a computer. It can drive by itself. And there's no real steering, throttle, or brakes. That is a big change from where we used to be with cars. And you might be wondering, how big of a difference really is that? This year, Zero Hedge posted an article all about the blue screen of death that some electric cars would get when they would fail a software update. And what would happen is people would not be able to maybe unlock their car, open their trunks, change drive modes, and some people weren't able to drive at all. There was a case in the article of someone who wasn't able to drive for 2 months and even took it to dealerships. It sounds like a joke. Imagine calling into work and saying, hey, I can't come to work today. My car's software update failed. It's ridiculous, but it's true. They rely so heavily on the computers. So I get what you're thinking. That last example shows how important computers are, but does it show the corruption or the intent behind it? Well, let me tell you about another article posted last year by Fox. It was an article about how Ford was starting to look for a patent that would lock people out of their cars remotely if they missed or were late on payments. It's crazy. I mean, this does not only show the ability to do it, it shows the desire to. Ford is just a company and they have a desire. So imagine if the government has this level of control. And here's a spoiler alert. If Ford has this level of control, I can guarantee you the government has more than that. And so what's the big picture of this? I'm sure you've heard of a social credit system, and if not, I'll go ahead and briefly explain what it is for you. They are systems designed by the government to reward people who are good or bad in the society. So as I said, social credit systems are designed to reward and punish good or bad people. And if this is your first time hearing about it, it might sound good at first. If someone runs a red light, they get punished for it. Or if they steal, they get punished for it. And maybe on the other hand, if someone helps an old lady across the street, they get rewarded for it. Or if there's a lost dog and they bring it home, they get rewarded for it. It sounds really good, but that's not what a social credit system is. It's a tool that totalitarian governments use to crush freedom. It's using the surveillance state that they have in place, also known as, the phones that you have on you. They have microphones, they're always listening, and they will judge you constantly. They're constantly judging your behavior, they're constantly punishing you, they're constantly rewarding you. It's like training you as if you were a dog. So for example, let's say you're on your phone and it sees that you're reading propaganda or something that goes against the agenda that they're trying to push. Maybe they will lower your score a little bit, or you comment and share that propaganda and then it goes even lower. Or, even further, you post propaganda or anything against what they talk about. It goes even lower than that. But on the other hand, if you start reading good propaganda or stuff that is pro their agenda or that they're trying to push, then you'll be rewarded. You can see how they're creating a system that rewards those who fall in line and punishes those who don't. And this is already happening in China, but it's going to be much harder for it to happen in the US, and that's because we understand freedom and we care about it deeply. But instead of being as blatant as China is as a system of control, it's going to be slowly introduced to the US in forms of social justice or, for the greater good of people. And that could be things like global warming, or it could be things like a vaccine passport, or it could also be things like gender inclusion at your business. So for the example of cars, let's go down the route of global warming. The US and Europe are going to assign carbon scores to everyone, except the elites, of course, that tracks how much carbon you pollute each month. And this system is already being put into place. You can go to Google Flights and see the carbon score for each flight that they have. And so they plan to punish you for going over it. So let's say you exceed the carbon score for the month. You go over the allotted amount. Maybe they'll control you by only allowing you to charge your car up to 80% or only 50%. Or maybe they say you can only drive 50 miles a day or even 20. And it can be even worse than that. Maybe they will limit you geographically. You can't visit this part of town because it's a high carbon area and you have polluted too much this month. So you will be geographically limited. In China, if you have a low enough credit score, they will ban you from flying altogether. And in 2017, 17.5 million people were banned from flying because they had low credit scores. And with an even lower score, those people can't take a train. And lower than that, they can't take a bus. And even lower than that, they won't be able to check into a motel or even get an apartment. China's goal is to give freedom to the people that they deem good and punish the people that they deem bad. But here's the key. They decide what's good and they decide what's bad. And like I said, this is coming to the US, into Europe, and it's coming in a different form, in the form of social justice. And the whole point is fear-mongering. They want you to be afraid of the next ban. No one wants to be banned from driving. Everyone wants to have the ability to drive. And if they realize that, they don't listen to what the government says, that it can prevent them from driving, they're gonna follow what the government says. So something must be done. I'm sure you're thinking that right now. Something must be done. What am I gonna do? Maybe I'll just buy an old non-electric gas car. Yeah, I don't know if that will work. It's a big picture issue that I'm talking about. As I discussed, countries are pushing for electric cars. Right now, they're giving bonuses to people that have electric. They're saying, free parking, or maybe there's other bonuses. And soon, they're gonna punish people that have non-electric. And that's either gonna be with the carbon scores, or maybe they'll get to the point where they restrict non-electric cars completely. So what can we do besides buying old non-electric cars? Well, first of all, we have to hold the government accountable. As I've talked about, transportation is an inherent right given by God. It is a freedom that we need to protect. And I believe it should also be an amendment to the Constitution, the right to transportation. We also need to protect the right to choose what vehicles we can have. We should be able to drive in vehicles that don't have computers in them, that aren't electric, that are old in combustion. And we need to fight back against carbon scores because they're gonna get creative at how they can take that away from you. Like I said, the social justice thing, They're doing this because we're aware, and they're just trying to basically find loopholes. And so that brings on the key point, awareness. We're aware, and that's why they're not being blatant. You need to be aware yourself. That's why you need to get educated on issues like this and also educate those around you. I really recommend you sit down and have conversations like this with people, and maybe even share this video if you liked it. I also think people need to start thinking about the implications of a device. You know, when Tesla released autopilot, I saw a lot of people say, wow, this is exciting. I can't wait to, have a car drive me places. And yeah, it might sound cool to have a chauffeur at all times, but we need to stop and think, okay, what is the ulterior motive to this? Why are they doing this? What could they get out of this more than just sales? Because it's not just companies anymore. It's the governments that are pulling the strings. So I really urge you to get private online. Privacy is not just about closing the bathroom door when you go to the bathroom. Privacy is the key to our freedom. And I hope I've shown that with this video. Information is power, and they are trying to gather as much information on you and control you with it. That's why I teach online privacy. It's because it is essential to protecting freedom. And if you're feeling inspired to take control of your privacy, I've created a privacy checklist that I've included in the description below. You can download it, you can print it and share it with other people. It's designed to teach you how to protect yourself from, social credit systems, central bank digital currencies, digital IDs, all of these things. And it's very important information. I think privacy is the issue of our time. So I really recommend you take advantage of this. I'm making it free because I'm trying to spread this message to as many people as possible. And finally, thank you for watching the video. We really appreciate the support. Your likes, comments, subscribes, and sharing really helps us be able to do this sort of thing. And we want to keep putting out as much content as possible. Thank you.